What is good, y'all? So it's Daniel here again, and today I'm joined by a customer of the Elevated Mentorship program, Berg. What's up, Berg?
Going on, man? This is Giancarlo Burgos. How's it going, bro?
Good.
Chilling.
Yeah, I'm glad that you can
Good.
join me today. So I've been working with Berg. We've been working together since like 2019. Berg's got a pretty interesting story because your Berg is very creative. I think a lot of barbers in the barber industry are like naturally creatives
Mm-hmm.
and very artistic. And I know when we started first working together, I think you were charging $30, and you were in a commission shop. Um,
Yes.
kind of give me, and for anybody who doesn't know your background, kind of like a story of like first of all who you are, how you started cutting hair, up to like even right now.
Got you. Well, for me, it was like a slower path for me. I think a lot of people just kind of get up into barbering and then pick it up and they're good. But for me, I started. I want to say I was 16, so I want to say what 8, 9 years from now. So at the time, there wasn't any education available for people. All there really was YouTube, Cake and his Randy, and a couple other people, OGs, that you can learn your stuff. But for me, I learned everything at home. Everything was self-taught, not because I had no other choice, just because I wanted to learn. I wanted to make it happen as fast as I could, right? So for me, it was just about putting practice and putting reps in. So obviously, along the lines of building that up, I went doing that throughout high school. I cut hair through high school. I built a rapport from there. Obviously, I didn't take it serious because I was 16, 17. I wanted to fuck around, dude. I didn't really want to work. So for me, I just kind of put on this a back burner. Went to university, make my parents happy, kind of do the whole vibe, But obviously, this didn't work out for me. 2 years in, I just decided to go get my license because I felt like if I could have something in my pocket, at least some type of professional grade in my pocket, then I can at least move forward in my career and at least try to like evolve from that. So 2 years after I got my license, next thing you know, I'm just in the shop. I had a friend that came and saw me at school. We were doing a barber battle at school, and she came in and checked me out in school. I was like, "Yo, do you have a shop?" I was like, "I don't really." So that's how the whole commission thing started, right? Like
Mm.
it just sounds really good. You go into a shop, you got a chair, right? Like what I mean. You don't have to pay me nothing, just whatever you cut, blah blah blah. So that's how the whole thing started from there. And I was in a commission based shop for that's the first shop. It was like 3 years, and then from there I moved to West Covina, and I was like freelancing, bouncing around and just like at one commission shop and the other, but not necessarily was. And then from there, I went to LA, where from many, I don't know if many are familiar with Saints. I was working there for a good amount of time. Due to business reasons and obviously other things, it just didn't work out. But from there, I guess, I think that's when we really started kicking in, right? That's when we really started working. Like, I think it was around Saints time. I want to say like the beginning of the year of that year, we really started moving along those lines. And I started actually investing my energy and investing in content and really starting to begin to understand how to market our product, right? Because at the end of the day, our haircuts are a product that we just have to get out there for people to see. So honestly, learning and picking up from that. And I spent a lot of time in commission-based shops till recently, where I'm now working at All Health Studio. It's in downtown Los Angeles, working with some good people. I'm working with Julius, Byron, as you guys may know, very, very respectable people in the industry. So it was a long road, but definitely a lot of ups and downs, especially being a creative. Like you say, it's the process of being creative is kind of just like it's like you go hard on something, but just when you fall down or it just doesn't work out, it also is a setback. But like any business, being able to adapt and move forward. But yeah, and then now just shifting into education. That's been the goal for me the entire time. I just love educating and teaching people and traveling and all in all, like I know the system of cutting hair and building a great business is the fuel to the engine, right? That's what
Hmm.
lets us build our brand. That's what lets us, educate. So I was very, very adamant about making sure I could double down on the actual haircutting process and the marketing process. So it's been definitely been an interesting last couple of years, man, growing and ending up, yeah.
Nice. I guess let's kind of like pinpoint real quick because I think
Yes.
a lot of barbers, especially like when you were jumping around from like the commission shops.
Yeah.
What was like the mindset or like the why of like why not only you went commission wise? I know it was a good deal, but why did
hmm
you stay there and then just continue bouncing around for a while?
hmm So the first one, I guess you could say, why it made sense at the time was the first time around it made sense because a new barber probably had a couple hundred like haircuts on my repertoire, not much. So definitely went in there to put as much reps in as I could. And I just did it for the opportunity, mostly growth. You know what I mean? I wasn't at a place where I had the clientele, so it made sense for me to go and build there. And like I said, I got comfortable, bro. Like the biggest thing I would say is comfortability. We're used to seeing the cash flow. We're used to seeing like your pockets are good. You don't have to pay nobody. It's good. But definitely I would say it was one of my biggest downfalls is being too comfortable, And when I went back around and did it again in Los Angeles, that was honestly, I felt like to me, it just felt more familiar to go to a completely new area. And then almost like to me, starting fresh. No, I didn't really have any clients. I had clients, but I had maybe 10 or 20% that were willing to drive from Azusa to LA, which is like in LA traffic, that's an hour and 30 minutes. So I had a very few. So what I was doing, I was cutting there, and I was coming back to West Covina to break bread there, right? And I can just stack all my clients and go back over there. So in a way, I was using it to build. But like I said, 2 years comes back around, I'm still at Saints, and it's like, to me, it's just like getting lost in the sauce. Is the best way to pronounce it. You're making money, you're having fun, you're in LA, it's great. But at the end of the day, it kind of gets away from the actual mission here, right? And I feel like for me, that's the main problem that I've seen is comfortability, right? And not being able to push ourselves or at least have someone else to kind of get on our asses and be like, yo, bro, like you're slacking, you know what I mean? Or you need to know this isn't a good move, even though you think it's a good move, And just getting out of your comfort zone, I would say, bro, definitely a big thing.
Absolutely. And I know for you, because you were at Saints, and I remember that was kind of like, again, too, like you said, I think it was January 2019 when we first started working together. I think I mean, at first we focused heavily on like marketing wise, because I think that was like that was like one of your biggest issues and focuses around that, because you were just so sporadic with everything else.
Yes.
And then we go back to maybe like even 2020 when you moved to All Hail, working with Julius, who I respect incredible, like one of the best barbers in the industry. And then we more focused on, cool, you have the marketing, but things still weren't clicking in a high gear.
Yeah,
and then we just like really focused on the business structure.
Yeah.
I guess go through like those different points of like, when we first started working, and your mindset of like what business was, what the mindset of marketing was when we first started working together, and then even like going into last year when we transitioned again more in just like the full on business result wise to get you up to now charging $100. So I guess it was like 3 stages of different mindsets for you.
Yeah, so I would say definitely was 3 stages. Stage 1 was obviously when I was in West Covina. I was charging $40, which at the time was kind of absurd in West Covina. Everyone was charging $15-$20, and that was like 3-4 years ago, which it was absurd to see $40 in West Covina. So for me, I thought I was doing decent. And then stage 1 goes, and then for me, and then obviously when I moved to Saints, I had to think of, I couldn't market the way I used to. I'm used to being around my friends and word of mouth, and now I'm in a completely different zone area, which had no idea. Like I couldn't use Yelp. We could, but at the same time, it wasn't me bringing in the motion, you know what I mean? And I feel like for stage 1 of the whole process that we did, I think for me, it was just understanding how to create engagement through a video. I said that was one of the things for me and then correlate. And to be real, I wasn't even looking at it in the business aspect yet. To me, it was like, how many views can I get on this video to correlate me clients in my chair, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only math that I was doing at the time. And obviously, it's because we like you said, like as the program advanced, you were able to show us how to pinpoint stuff. You know what I mean? But at first, it was just about creating the avalanche, as we would call it, right? Creating an avalanche of a snowfall effect where people honestly just going and going and going. And I couldn't lie to you, it worked. You know what I mean? Like anything I would post, whether it's undercut, taper, fade, is what I would get in my chair. So that's when I started to see the correlation in between the content you post and the business that comes into your chair, And for me, like, okay, I locked the content down. I could understand how to make a video. I knew how to get it, not get it to pop, but at least to get it a good, clean video. And then the second stage was when, I guess we would say, is when we evolved into more of a business focus, right? So like, what about this haircut did they like? What about this haircut made them get into my chair? You know what I mean? And a lot of the things that I was realizing was like, even from the simplicity things of like showing off the haircut more at the end, or just being able to imply these things that make your service more, right? And then obviously when I went from West Covina, I went to Saints. I was charging $60. I'm lying. The first year of Saints, we were charging the same rate. I was in LA charging the same rate as West Covina. That's
Yeah.
what that. And then for me, like I was like, it's cool. Let me put my time in. I get it. Like I'm new here. Let me put my time in. Blah blah blah. Right. And then year number 2 came and they raised their price just because it's a new year, right? That whole shit. So he obviously is not a barber. Like he's not a barber. He's like he owns businesses. So for him, it was just about building the business in that way, which is cool. And my clients obviously didn't really hurt from that. But at the same time, I wanted to understand how to do that by myself. So the 60 price range hit, and then we're good. And then that was it. 2000 at the end of 2019, I would say, right, early 2020, when we started actually building like a splicing, right? So I was able to focus what those $60 were getting me and implying other methods and contents to build me up to 100, right? And one thing I noticed was obviously the quality of the haircut, the little things, right? The details, as you were telling me before, like point out the details and stuff like that. So being able to honestly scale the business, that's the most important thing I can say is scaling the business, right? Like once you can put the content out, we you taught us how to actually scale the content and scale the business in that way. So from going to 60 to 80 to 100 for me was just like it was more about, I guess, the right timing, right? It was more of the when factor and like the clientele. So being able to know that if I have this much new clients in my chair weekly by this amount, I should obviously not be this busy. So I got to raise my price A and B. So being able to just think like that, I've never thought like that. It's ever. As a barber, bro, we cut as much heads as we can that day. We count our money at the end of the day. We go below it and call it a day. Like, I don't think there's an actual business structure, like a business mind. You know what I mean? And like, I think definitely you taught us a lot from that. Even just for me, I've told people a lot. You're one of my mentors for sure when it comes to that. Just actually being able to do shit on the business side of things and making hair an actual product, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think because I always kept in touch with like what you were doing, even though we weren't like working closely together as often. And I think I just kind of saw you like I think a lot of barbers get stuck in this process of like it's the content and that's the only thing. When like when we started working in like 2020, I was like, dude, like you're doing the same thing and you're getting the same result. Like obviously, like it's not the content. Like you have to have some structure. I think a lot of things that really push the program and like just the understanding of like what we do inside forward was just how to track even. I think that for you was probably one of the most
bro.
just
I would
tracking.
say that right there was like, it's like, wow, I can break this shit down and actually
like
that didn't work. This worked.
Yeah, you see like your business from like a bird's eye view. I mean, even Tough, I had an interview with him as well as Joel, and both of them like Joel was even saying like just from financial tracking too. Like he just used to write it on like a whiteboard and then just like show that to like his tax person instead of like having like actual spreadsheets that break everything down.
QuickBooks and Excel sheet, like I mean the breakdown, the works,
Yeah, I guess for you, because obviously you're very creative. I think the aesthetic wise, if anybody's ever checked out your Instagram before, obviously you have a very, you just have the natural eye for that. I guess, going in, and I think a lot of people are drawn towards that from you and a lot of other barbers. Where does that come from? Like, where does your inspiration around like the creativity aspect and like your overall style come from specifically?
I think a big part of it has to do with just being comfortable in my own skin. Like a lot of things that I used to go with a lot was obviously when it comes down to just not feeling like yourself. Oh, like I want to be like this, or I want to do this. You know what I mean? I think the second that I had to actually think about like, yo, I'm just gonna do what makes me me. Like or what, like I'm just always naturally drawn to clean. I think that's what kind of gives me that aesthetic is I always just like things to be tidy, neat, and clean, And I think that kind of gives up that aesthetic, like, oh, that's like so visually appealing. But at the end of the day, it's just like, even when you teach us how to do content, it's like, bro, you want to eliminate everything around it. So just focus on your actual like subject, right? So for me, I kind of did that on a big scale, like a life scale almost, what I mean? Kind of like even when it comes to the way I dress, like I eliminate the shit that's like doesn't really need to be. I keep it cozy, simple, and we're good, And I think that's one thing that has allowed me to be creative is I keep all the other shit simple, so it allows me to process those things a little bit further, you know what I mean? Or even when it comes to the videos would be a good example. Like yeah, I can slice a video, next cool, but how do we elevate this subject, right? How do we make this video more about what we're actually trying to watch here? And then that's how I kind of thought about just continuously trying to do a wall white background on my videos, or just building that aesthetic and the rapport of like more of just a clean visual, you know. And I think that's what kind of gives me the aesthetic. It's not more about like I'm loud. I think I'm just very like tidy into myself, you know what I mean? So it kind of builds that by itself. But I definitely I'm trying to almost advance on that, as in like how do we creatively direct our content, right? You know what I mean? Like, because obviously we can put out dope content and it'll be dope and hits, but like how do we promote it in a creative way? Like how do we maybe do a photo shoot for the haircut, or maybe just producing a cleaner video for, like, I guess adding its own aesthetics and like its own creative type of vision to it, you know what I mean? So it's definitely, I think it comes down to just the simplicity aspect.
Nice. Um, and I know I already know this answer and I have an idea, but I definitely want to pick your brain on this one. Being a creative and just being Berg, right? Just being
uh,
yourself. Um, what have been the pitfalls that you've seen with being like so creative and so like more on the artistic side? And maybe not
mm,
so like business structured side. I mean, of course you are more business structured now, but what have
mm,
been those pitfalls along just your journey from like high
yeah.
school kid all the way till now that you've also learned from?
Yeah, and I would say it's something we went back and forth on a lot. You know, we went back on a lot.
I'll be like, Berg,
We,
cut that shit
we
out,
went
dude.
back and forth. That's why bro asked. He's like, "Yo, I want to know why." No, but to be real, bro, like it's something that it might be my biggest downfall, or my biggest achievement. I would say is kind of just being wanting to express myself, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being wanting to be like, oh, okay, what I guess more is the boredom aspect. For me, it's like I'm constantly doing something, it gets repetitive and I lose inspiration. So for me, like being creative, it's more about fueling my inspiration, you know? And like a lot of things I used to do that would be my downfall is like stuff that didn't correlate to the business
Yeah.
is the big thing here. You know what I mean? I think you can be creative within our business, but what I failed to be was like, I wanted to be an overall creative. I want to fucking do this. I want to do that. I want to fucking, take selfies and shit, which at the end of the day, it's like, it's no problem with that. But I feel like there's a way to take a selfie now. Like, what if there's a barber chair in it? Why there's a fucking clipper in it? And you know what I mean? Or almost adding, almost relating, being able to control that creativity. And to me, it was the biggest downfall I had was at the time was just not focusing that creativity into the business, right? And being able to actually push it to its limits within its boundaries, and being able to do that. So I guess for me is like the creative aspect is just something that I can't really shake. It's just more about
Yeah.
being able to apply it to the right areas, and like I feel like doing a better job now to actually like resource the energy to the right area. Yeah, but it's been basically one of my things. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And for those that don't know, Berg is my barber too now in LA. But we
Yeah.
go back and forth all the damn time when I'm in the chair about like he wants to like
For
start doing
real.
something else. I'm like, dude, what the hell is the point of this? Like
Come on,
it's
come on,
business.
bro.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, but I think a lot of barbers like do that too. And
Mm,
I think as like a very high energy creative, like you're always looking to add more on, but it's always
yeah,
that principle,
that's
less is
true.
more. Like the
That's also
less you
true.
do,
Yeah.
like the more output you can
Effective,
get
right?
and effectiveness you are. Like I always thought about it
Hmm.
as let's say somebody like, as talented as you at cutting hair, right? If you're doing that, you're trying to do like I don't even know what the hell you were also trying to do. You were trying to do like five other different things at one time, right?
I think at the time I was trying to like fucking dude, I can't even remember anymore,
You were
bro.
trying to
That's how
you were trying to
I was
put
doing tons of
I
shit.
just remember I was just listening to you and I was like, holy shit, we got a uphill battle with this one. But like I always thought about it as like if you're like doing five different things and let's say it's
Yeah.
like barbering's one of them and like you're super talented in that and you have another person who's like 1/5 the talent level of you in barbering, you guys are on the
Mm,
same path in terms of output
mm.
wise, right?
Yeah, that's
Of
true.
energy, and
100%.
it's like this sickening thing like to come to that realization. I think a lot of barbers they will again too. I think it looks cool to have in your bio of like founder of this, CEO, brand ambassador, all the, like these 20
Yeah,
different
bro,
things, but like
100%. Yeah,
that looks
I
good
think
to
that was true.
that
True,
looks good.
true.
That looks good to somebody who doesn't know what truth is or know what the hell's going on. And like to somebody like me and you now, like we look at that and we're like, oh god, you were fucked.
Yeah, bro.
There
Yeah,
is nothing
definitely.
in that thread that is successful whatsoever.
That
So
shit's crazy.
yeah, you
Yeah,
just gotta
and I don't even
recognize.
like talking shit because I was me. That was me.
You're
I'm
over there
like,
getting
yeah,
antsy, like, oh
yeah,
god,
keep doing you, bro. Like, I didn't even have where I worked at in my bio.
Jesus
Keep
Christ, dude.
it didn't even say where. It just like said a bunch of shit. But I was like, all right, but how do I get a hold of you? Like, just, you know what I
We're
mean? So
missing the
even just
principles.
like a lot of that, bro. Like
Yeah.
professionally showcasing ourselves. You know, also too being able to correctly. Even the little things of like having a clean bio and telling
Mm,
people where you work, you know, tag this or fucking book down here type thing, you know, little things like that. Just overall professionalism, I would say. You
nice.
know what I mean? Is one of the biggest factors. Yeah.
I guess kind of segueing to like a next question. What I mean, of course, like for the Elevated Mentorship program now, very more business. Like everything's like an ecosystem from marketing,
Mm-hmm.
business, life, and just everything. What has been the biggest help to you out of like in this past year? If you could pinpoint like a few things that you just felt were super helpful to you.
I think doing this time around the program this year or last year technically, but beginning of this year, I think it was the the most effective thing to me. I think was the splicing, bro.
Mm,
The splicing aspect and being able to pinpoint our videos and break our videos down to know what worked and what didn't work.
yeah,
To be able to make our videos better, right? And at that point, we can almost customly tailor our own videos to what we want. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So that for me was the big thing. I just never looked at a video that way, to be real, to
yeah,
be able to splice it. So that was one thing. Um, uh, the financial aspect, you know what I mean? Being able to understand like you're making this much times this, you have this many amount of clients. You know what I mean? Like there's obviously a system to it where it's like when you break the system, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like a overflowing aspect. But I never thought about it in a way where you actually had a system for the amount of people that are in your chair to actually build your business. You know what I mean? So that was
yeah.
one thing too. And then I think for me the most crucial thing was just I guess the like the actual program itself. You know what I mean? The way
Mm,
that actually the way we actually was structured to teach us. You know what I mean? Like that for me was one of the more intuitive parts. I feel like, which was great to me. And those are like the really big things I feel like that really helped me kind of progress and being able to and you as a person, bro, you kind of like cut the shit. You kind of like cut the shit, bro. What's really going on here? Like type
yeah,
thing. You know what I mean? So it's just like the overall, I guess the mentorship is in general is a mentorship. And that's one thing I can tell people that are gonna join. It's a mentorship, bro. It's not
yeah,
just like a fucking program you join and have a ball, you know what I mean? You're gonna get gassed if you fuck around, like
yeah,
type thing, you know. It's just like overall, I think it's just overall the idea of being able to progress and scale your business was the most attractive thing to me. I was like, bro, I can actually like make some real money out of this shit. Like,
hmm
you know, not just do it for fun, as they say, right?
yeah. Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
the DNA splicing portion of everything. Like when I told Joel about that, like that's what got Joel in the program. He's like, dude, I don't even like because
Bro,
I told
dog.
him like, dude, there was so much that I didn't add to any other program because I was still cutting hair. Now that I'm done, I was like, all right, we're just gonna let everything out. Um,
Yeah, bro, that shit was because
yeah,
even from there, like we can just track even the money, right? Even the money
yeah,
prices. You know what I mean? If you want to elevate your prices, you splice based on that, right? So like say like for me, I'm already looking into splicing into the $140 range, right? When it comes to
150, dude,
now adding the shaves, right? Now
150.
adding that razor touch to it. You know what I mean? And like doing all them things. So like kind of just like be able to elevate that. Yeah.
Yeah, 150. We're not doing 140 for you, dude.
150. There you
You're not
go.
going to 140.
There
See, there's a great example of like Berg cut that
you
shit
go.
out, dude.
There you go. That's a great example of
Yeah,
fucking undershooting this.
yeah. And
But yeah, you know what I mean?
another thing too that was funny is because I was talking to Tough and he was just like, dude, if you're not serious about building your business, you just want to fuck around. This ain't for you, type of shit, right? I thought
Yeah,
that
no,
that
true.
described it perfectly because it's like
True.
there's so much to build a business, and I think even for you, the program came in at a perfect time because like you were you had already gone through your process of like, all right, trying this yourself, having fun, and then it was
Yeah,
just like,
definitely.
where the hell is the result? And then you're
Because
like,
it was we did it the first time. Because I did it
yeah,
with you the first time, and then I had like the period of like, oh, okay, I got this, yeah.
yeah.
And then from there, I was like, nah, I don't got this. And then I was like,
Well, that's why you
and
have
then once,
lifetime access. Like it's just
yeah,
everybody's growth. Everybody learns at a different pace, and some people
yeah,
they take on to it early on. Some people they need a little bit more time to work. Humans learn at different paces, and it's just like
mm-hmm.
I think that's what's perfect about it is just like you have full access lifetime to like Q&A calls working with me or even just the program access in general. Even for somebody like you who wants to I mean this would be a great segue to like see what you want, but you know if somebody wants to get like yourself 200 300 a haircut, like you know there is no cap limit on that. I guess for
Yeah, you
you
can obviously build that right and splice that to its requirements and stuff like that. So that's one thing too is being able to use that structure
mm,
in basically any business. I feel like even applying that to ATP is also something I'm like
yeah.
applying almost the same structure, right? Where like you kind of cutting out the shit that doesn't need to be there. And one thing I had to do recently too was kind of just reevaluate what the brand was about. And for me,
Mm,
it's about hair education and furthering my creative community. You know what I mean? So I kind of
nice.
had to put like certain shit on the back burner because it just at the time it was fun, but it wasn't something that was necessary, you know. And for me, it's being able to like I said, it's being able to build something that not just fun, but you can get paid out of. You know what I mean? Everyone tries to
Yeah.
think about, oh, if you're having fun, it's great, but bro, we living out here ain't for free. You know what I mean? If we can do what you love and get paid great money, is what we want. And to me, it's just being able to build that is the main thing.
Yeah, keep the main thing the main thing. And like
Yeah, exactly like you said.
I don't think anybody wants to be in a labor business. Like the idea of the program has always been like this isn't to perfect a fade to keep you cutting hair. It's to like 5 years from now you have the cash reserves to like remove yourself from cutting hair full time to go into like
Mm-hmm.
even what you're doing right now with the ATP, you know, like into
Mm-hmm.
another building a different business and having the cash
Mm-hmm.
flow for that because you maxed out the barbering business. You're not just like
Mm-hmm.
overworked and barely
Mm-hmm.
scraping by. I guess for you, another great segue to go into what's coming up for you in the coming year, right? Kind of foreshadowing like what do you have planned? Of course, you have ATP. Also with your business, I know
Mm-hmm.
Tough just said he's going up to 200 by December. What's in store for you
Mm-hmm.
this year?
For me, I want to basically double down on the business aspect. Now that everything opened up in the States, we have a lot more, at least a lot more like leeway on what's going on now. You know, we have like the vaccine and whatever's going on. So at least just the vision's a little bit clearer. So for me, yeah, definitely for me, the goal is definitely to be at like 250 or 300 by the end of the year, including full services. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because with bleach for me, I'm already charging 300. So the goal is to boost that up to 400 by the end of the year, obviously, and being able to charge like minimum $200 an hour. You know, that's the min. Because when it comes to multiple services that I do color and shit like that. So it'd be really hard to bang out like the time wise. So I definitely want to go and up all of them up, you know, and I have that. And also from there is being able to build that system to where it can fuel ATP, which ATP is basically it's a creative agency. You know, I want to be able to spread education to our creatives, you know, and anything from artistic direction to where it comes to actually like being able to build content. And the goal is to have a educational system through online where you can go and access that, whether it's haircut tutorials, whether it's just like literally Q&As, whether it's like little things that can help your business grow in the
nice.
creative aspect. Kind of something that people wonder about me. It's like, oh, how do you do that? Or what makes that about you? You know what I mean? And
Mm,
for me, it's just more about like I guess being able to put that out there. I never really actually gave people the sauce or like gave people the insider. Even the conversations that we have and the stuff that we learn from the program, bro, is like people were to see that shit, they would probably lose their mind, bro. Like that's fucking real. Yeah, like it's
yeah,
very real, bro. So
absolutely.
like honestly, just doubling down on the future projects, you know, and making sure that I'm focusing on what needs to be focused on, whether it's obviously hair is hair and then education is that. And then anything after that is just fun, you know, whether it's the clothing shit, any of that's just fun. But for me, it's education and hair and making sure I can build those businesses so I can be sustainable, right? And then remove myself from, like you said, and then I could have fun with all the product shit, you know. But definitely want to make sure that I have the main thing be the main thing, like you said.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, bro.
I guess kind of wrapping up here, you know, you go back to like when we first started working together, a barber
Mm-hmm.
who was in a commission shop charging, I believe, $40.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what advice would you have for that similar individual today, right? Somebody who's maybe watching this or even listening to this interview, who's in a similar situation as you were when we first started working together, who's kind of on the fence about joining Elevated Mentorship and the program
Mm-hmm.
overall. What advice would you give them?
Just do it. Just do it, bro. That was like my mindset was the whole time. I was like, oh, it's like this amount of money. Like, damn, I kind of like I have that, but like, I don't know, is it worth it? You know what I mean? So basically, don't be afraid to invest in yourself, bro. Even if it's a fail, it doesn't matter. You really invested. You put more information into your brain, and my biggest thing was to be just like, bro, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, be able to put yourself in a position to where you can grow. That's one thing I lacked before, was being comfortable in the place I was at. Like, why would I join mentorship when I'm making this much money like over here? Like, what is he gonna do for me? You know? Like, at the same time, it's like you almost need to see, like, obviously now there's way more proof than you would really need, but back in the day for me it was a lot tougher to be like, yeah, like, all right, let's do it, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely, like, I think for you is just being able, like, to, one piece of advice, just really sit down with yourself and really think about what you want with your life. You know, do you want to do this hair shit? Do you want to do some other shit? And if you do want to do this hair shit and you really do care about progressing, then I 100% recommend this to people, to be able to change your thought process. Not even about, don't think about the money or any other thing. It's more about the creation and the thought process that goes behind building a good business, you know? And for me, honestly, that shit was probably like the least money I could have spent, you know what I mean? To put it any other way. Like, it's the shit, that thing, what I've got from it, bro, has made me more and progressed my mind in other ways that I definitely wouldn't have thought about, bro. So I just definitely, I hope you guys think thoroughly, you know, and make sure you guys make that right move, because it's not for everybody. I will tell you that it's not for everybody, but at the same time, if you think you got the beans for it and like you really want to do this shit, bro, then I really recommend it.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I'm very excited to see, of course, Alter the People come together, as well as getting up to 300. And because I know I missed the first drop of Alter the People, so I'm gonna need to get like a little heads up so I can cop something from you to really support, because you've been putting in work. But dude, man, it's been a pleasure so far working with you, and I really look forward again to what's to come. And I'd appreciate you for taking this interview as well.
Of course. Thank you for having me, man. And like I said, you're much appreciated, bro. Your crazy ass advice is definitely needed. Much love, bro.
Awesome, dude. Thank you.